Smash that subscribe button if you dare, because this story isn't just dark. It's the kind of truth nobody wants uncovered. The night the body was found drifting beneath the fogged-over lights of the East River was the same night the city announced, loudly, proudly, and prematurely, that Rikers Island would finally be shut down. It was supposed to be a victory speech, something the mayor's team rehearsed for months, polished with the shine of political triumph. But within hours, that victory turned to something colder, heavier, and far more dangerous than anyone expected. Detective Marcus Hale stood at the water's edge, watching the currents push the body toward the rocky shoreline. No blood, no visible wounds, no signs of how the man died, just the eeriness of a life that had clearly been snatched away before anyone realized he was missing. Hale didn't need a medical examiner to tell him that whoever had done this wanted the message to be clean, silent, and unmistakably deliberate. He glanced over his shoulder as the crime scene unit murmured to one another, their voices tight and uneasy. The East River was no stranger tragedy, but tonight felt different. There was a pulse beneath the silence, a shift in the air like something immense had just taken its first breath. The victim was later identified as Jerome Keller, a mid-level courier for one of the underground networks rumored to operate inside the fictional Rikers Island complex. Not the kind of man to go missing quietly. Not the kind of man to wind up dead without half the borough hearing about it. Yet here he was. The failed plan to close Rikers wasn't just a political disaster waiting to happen. It had become a fuse. And Jerome's body was the first spark. Hale knew what that meant. Everyone did. Someone was sending a message. By dawn, the rain had washed away the chalked outlines and shoe prints at the scene. But inside the precinct, the tension only grew. Detectives moved through the halls with the heavy steps of people who understood what was coming. Investigations that went nowhere, witnesses who vanished before giving statements, phone calls intercepted, evidence lost without explanation. It always happened when Rikers was involved. Always. "Tell me this isn't what I think it is," said Detective Nina Ward, sliding the crime scene photos across Hale's desk. She was younger, sharper, more idealistic, though working alongside Hale had chipped away at some of that shine. Still, she fought harder than most. She had the kind of persistence that made criminals nervous. Hale sighed. "You already know what this is." A warning. More like a countdown. Ward leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, jaw tight. The closure plan goes public tonight. Half the city doesn't even believe it's going to happen. The other half thinks it's some political stunt. It doesn't matter what the city thinks, Hale said. It matters what the people inside Rikers think. She narrowed her eyes. "You think this is coming from the inside?" "I think someone does want the facility closed, and they're willing to make sure it stays open." Ward studied the photos again. Keller was small time. Why kill him first? Hale hesitated. Because he carried information. Like what? Routes, codes, messages. He wasn't important, Nina, not by himself. But the things he transported? Worth more than any one person's life. Ward frowned. So whoever killed him wanted to silence him. Hale's voice dropped. Or silence everyone else. By mid-afternoon, a storm rolled in, draping the city in a thick blanket of gray. It wasn't just rain. It was the kind of weather that felt like it was absorbing sound, swallowing hum of traffic, and the clatter of humanity. Perfect cover for something hidden. Perfect cover for the truth no one wanted exposed. Hale and Ward drove toward Rikers Bridge entrance, their patrol car navigating puddles deeper than expected. As they approached the security gate, a guard stepped out, raising a hand to stop them. "You're not on the schedule," he said. Ward flashed her badge. "We're not here for a tour." The guard hesitated just long enough to make Hale suspicious, then waved him through. Inside the fictionalized Rikers compound, the tension hit them instantly. The air was different, charged, uneasy, as if every wall had ears and every eye hid something. Hale had been here dozens of times through his career, but today felt unfamiliar. The energy was wrong. The guards were restless, inmates unusually quiet. The atmosphere coiled like a spring. A lieutenant met them near the administrative wing. His expression was stiff, controlled. "Detectives, you didn't call ahead." "We didn't want to," Ward replied. His jaw tightened, but he led them inside. "What's the real temperature here today?" Hale asked as they walked down the fluorescent-lit corridor. The lieutenant didn't answer directly. "You're wasting your time if you think Keller's death started here." "You're saying it didn't?" Ward asked. "I'm saying nothing starts here," he said. "It ends here." The phrasing was strange. Hale caught it instantly. "Ends how?" The lieutenant stopped walking, looked both ways, lowered his voice. "You're digging into something that isn't meant to be uncovered." Ward stiffened. "Is that a threat?" "No," he said. "It's a reality. You want advice? Let Keller be." "Can't do that," Hale replied. The lieutenant exhaled, defeated. "Then be careful. There are people who, how should I put, benefit from Rikers staying open." Ward raised an eyebrow. "And they're willing to kill for that benefit?" He didn't answer. He didn't have to. After leaving the administrative wing, Hale and Ward visited Keller's last known contact inside, an inmate named Raylon Pierce, known for running small-scale favors in exchange for protection. Raylon sat across from him in the visitation room, hands folded, expression unreadable. He wasn't tall, but he had presence, calm, observant, calculated. The kind of man who didn't waste words. "You know why we're here," Hale said. Raylon gave a faint smile. "Everyone knows why you're here. You heard about Keller," Ward said. Raylon nodded. "Word travels. Who would have wanted him gone?" Raylon leaned forward. "Detectives, you're asking the wrong question." Ward frowned. "What's the right one?" Raylon's voice was soft but razor-sharp. "Who didn't?" Hale and Ward exchanged glances. Raylon continued. "The moment the city said they were closing this place, everything shifted. People got nervous. People got desperate. This place, fictional or not, is a money machine, a control machine, a leverage machine. You shut it down, you shut down a lot of operations. People on the outside lose power. People on the inside lose protection. Who's sending messages?" Hale asked. Raylon tilted his head. "Messages? That's not what Keller was. He wasn't a message." "Then what was he?" Ward asked. "A door," Raylon whispered. "And someone just locked it." On the drive back toward the precinct, Hale's mind raced. The lieutenant's warning. Raylon's cryptic answers. The feeling of being watched the entire time they were inside. Something bigger was moving beneath the surface. Something planned. Something designed to keep Rikers open at all costs. Ward drummed her fingers on the dashboard. "You think Raylon was telling the truth?" "Most of it." "You think Keller was a link?" Hale shook his head. "No, Keller was a fuse." "An explosion?" Hale's phone buzzed before he could answer. "Unknown number." He answered cautiously. "Hale." A distorted voice came through. "You need to stop asking questions." Hale stiffened. "Who is this?" "No one you want to know." "What do you want?" "A warning." "We've already gotten warnings." "Not like this." "What's the message?" The voice paused for a long, chilling moment. "Look under Keller's last locker." The call ended. Ward stared at him. "What was that?" Hale's face had gone pale. "Trouble." They drove directly to Keller's last known locker location, a small, privately rented storage unit near the Queens shoreline. The facility was silent, abandoned-looking, with metal doors lined in narrow rows. Their footsteps echoed as they approached Keller's unit. Hale reached for the lock. "Broken." "Someone was here already," Ward murmured. They opened the door. The interior was nearly empty. Just dust, shadows, and the faint smell of something metallic. Hale swept the flashlight across the floor, the beam glinting off a torn piece of paper. Ward picked it up. A coded list of names. Dozens of them. "What is this?" she whispered. Hale scanned the list. "This is a network. Routes. Transfers. People moving in and out. Keller wasn't just a courier. He was a keeper." "Of what?" "Secrets." Ward reached toward the back wall, noticing something strange. Scrape marks. As if something had been dragged or moved. "Hale," she said quietly. "There's something behind this panel." She pressed her fingers to the edge of the metal sheet and pulled. It slid open. Behind it was a small, hidden compartment. Inside the compartment, a flash drive, a burner phone, and a sealed envelope with Detective Hale's name on it. Ward's breath stopped. Why would Keller have something addressed to you? Hale didn't answer. He couldn't, because when he opened the envelope and unfolded the single sheet of paper inside, the words were enough to drain the color from his face. I know who is trying to stop the closure, and they're closer than you think. Ward frowned. What does that mean? Hale looked at her, eyes dark. It means this goes deeper than Rikers, and someone is already watching us. The storm outside intensified, wind howling through the gaps in the metal doors. The entire storage facility shuddered, as if responding to the gravity of the moment. Ward lifted the flash drive. We need to get this back to the precinct. Hale nodded, but as they turned to leave, a distant click echoed from the far end of the corridor. Ward froze. Hale, did you hear that? Before he could respond, the lights flickered, dimmed, and then went out completely. Pitch black, total silence, except for one thing. The unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching. Slow, deliberate, unhurried. Someone was inside the facility. Someone who didn't want them leaving with what they had found. Ward whispered. Hale were not alone. The footsteps stopped. A voice emerged from the shadows. A voice they recognized. A voice that should not have been there. Detectives, it said softly. You found something you shouldn't have. Hale's blood ran cold, because he knew exactly who that voice belonged to. And if the owner of that voice was here, then the conspiracy around Rikers' closure was far bigger and darker than he ever imagined. The voice drifted to the darkness like a blade sliding across concrete, slow, sharp, and unmistakably familiar. Hale's heart tightened. It couldn't be him. Not here. Not now. But the next sentence confirmed everything. You should have walked away when you still had the chance. Ward gripped Hale's arm in the dark. Hale, who is that? Why does he sound like he knows you? Hale didn't answer. He couldn't. Not yet. His flashlight sat dead, useless. The power in the building had been cut intentionally. Whoever was stalking them wasn't improvising. They were executing a plan. Metal echoed softly as the footsteps shifted. Closer. Ward swallowed hard. We need light. Hale reached for his backup flashlight, small, worn, barely bright enough, but it flickered to life. A thin beam sliced through the blackened aisle, illuminating dust particles swirling like ash in the stale air. But the aisle was empty. No one stood where the voice came from. A whisper drifted from the opposite direction. Detectives, you're looking the wrong way. Ward spun around, flashlight raised, breath trembling. Hale, this is not normal. There's no way someone moves that fast. Oh, there is, Hale murmured. If they're trained. Ward swallowed. Trained how? Before Hale could answer, metal creaked behind them. A storage unit door slammed shut, loud enough to vibrate the hallway. Ward flinched. Okay, that was close. Too close. Hale's voice dropped. He's playing with us. Who is he? A ghost, Hale said. The kind Rikers creates. The footsteps faded, then stopped altogether. The silence that followed was worse. It felt like the entire building was holding its breath. Hale motioned toward the exit with a slow, deliberate gesture. We move. Now. Ward nodded and checked the evidence bag, flash drive, burner phone, sealed envelope. All intact. They stepped carefully through the corridor, flashlights sweeping the walls. The building felt alive, listening, waiting. Every shadow seemed deeper, every corner darker. Halfway down the row, Hale froze. Ward whispered, What? He pointed the flashlight down at the floor. Wet footprints, fresh, and leading directly toward them. Ward's voice cracked. He's been behind us this whole time. Hale shook his head. No, he's ahead of us. The footprints ended abruptly, as if the person had vanished. Or climbed. Hale slowly tilted his flashlight upward. A man clung silently to the metal rafters above them, body pressed tight against the beams, face hidden in shadow. The light hit the edge of a jawline, then a faint grin. Ward whispered, No way. The man dropped from the rafters with a quiet thud, landing less than 10 feet away. Ward yanked her gun instinctively. Don't move. He didn't flinch, didn't run, didn't even blink. Hale reached for her arm. Ward, don't. He wants that reaction. The intruder stepped into the dim beam, revealing sharp features and cold eyes. He wore no mask. He didn't need one. Ward stared at him. Hale, who is this? The man smiled at Hale. Go on. Tell her. Hale's jaw tightened. Officer Brian Cade. Ward blinked. An officer? He's NYPD. No, Hale said. He used to be. Cade tilted his head. Used to be is generous. Marcus. You and the department made sure I'd never wear that badge again. Ward looked back and forth between them. What happened? Cade stepped forward slowly. You want to explain it, Hale? He asked. Or should I? Hale's voice stayed low. Cade was part of an undercover task force. Deep cover. Years inside the networks that moved through Rikers. Ward's eyes widened. An infiltrator? A good one, Hale said. Too good. Cade smirked. Until I found out something I wasn't supposed to. Ward hesitated. What did you find? Cade's smile disappeared instantly. That shutting down Rikers would expose everything. Every pipeline. Every deal. Every secret the city built into that place. You think criminals are the ones scared of closure? No. It's the people who built the system. Hale shook his head. You went rogue. I survived. Cade shot back. There's a difference. Ward stepped slightly in front of Hale. Why did you kill Keller? I didn't kill Keller, Cade said, but I know who did. Hale stiffened. Cade's eyes glinted. And if you two don't stop digging, you'll meet them. Ward swallowed. Why warn us? Cade's expression softened just slightly. Because, like it or not, Hale were on the same side. Ward didn't lower her gun. You stalked us, terrorized us, hijacked a building's power. To make sure no one followed, Cade replied. You're being watched. This thing? It's already bigger than any of us. Hale stepped forward. What's on the flash drive? Cade looked at the evidence bag. Then he chuckled. You really don't know, do you? Tell me. Cade leaned in, his voice barely audible. It's a kill list. Ward tensed. A what? Cade continued. Names of people tied to the Rikers pipeline. Informants, couriers, weak links. The ones who would expose everything if the facility shut down. Keller had that list. He wasn't transporting drugs, money, or contraband. He was transporting the names of people someone wanted erased. Ward felt her stomach drop. And now we have the list. And now, Cade said, your targets. Hale's voice darkened. Who's behind it? Cade smiled. If I told you, I'd be dead before I walked out of this warehouse. Ward pressed. Then why are you still here? Because I needed to warn you. You're not investigating a murder. You're stepping into a war. Hale tried again. Who killed Keller? Cade inhaled slowly. Someone high enough that you'll never see them coming. Ward took a step forward. If you know so much, help us stop it. Cade shook his head. You two don't get it. There is no stopping it. Why not? Hale demanded. Because shutting down Rikers doesn't just close a facility. Cade said. It shifts power. And power never goes quietly. Ward's grip on her gun tightened. Then what do you want from us? Cade's smile returned, slow, unsettling. To stay alive long enough to realize who the real enemy is. Before Hale or Ward could react, Cade moved. Fast. He hit the light switch box on the wall, restoring power to the building in a violent, blinding flicker. By the time their eyes adjusted, Cade was gone. Hale exhaled shakily. Damn it! Ward holstered her gun. Hale, what aren't you telling me? Hale looked at the envelope addressed to him, the one Keller left behind. Then he looked at Ward. Cade didn't lose his job because of the department. Hale said quietly, he lost it because of me. Ward stared at him. Why? Because he crossed a line, Hale said. A line I thought couldn't be crossed. Ward's voice softened. What kind of line? Hale hesitated. A line connected to Rikers. They made it back to the precinct without further incident, but the unease clung to them like smoke. The storm outside had only grown stronger, wind battering the windows, thunder rolling overhead like distant artillery. Ward placed the evidence bag gently on her desk. "We need to see what's on the drive." Hale nodded. "Not here." Ward paused. "You think someone in the precinct is involved?" "I think Keller didn't address the envelope to me by accident," Hale said. "He wanted me to see something without anyone else knowing." Ward thought for a moment. "We go off-grid." Hale agreed. They drove to a small, abandoned city office building Hale knew about, one that hadn't been used in years, but still had working power. A place no one monitored. Ward plugged a flash drive into an old computer. It whirred to life slowly, screen flickering before stabilizing. A single folder appeared, labeled The Last Stone. Ward frowned. "What does that mean?" Hale didn't answer. His stomach tightened again. Ward opened the folder. Inside were 57 names. Some were crossed out. Others were highlighted in red. At the bottom was a digital note. "When the island falls, these people fall with it." Ward whispered, "It's really a list." Hale scanned the names, then froze. Ward noticed immediately. "Hale, what is it?" Hale pointed to the last name on the list. His own. Ward's eyes widened. "Hale, why are you on here?" He didn't answer, because he didn't know. Or maybe he did, and didn't want to admit it. The screen flickered suddenly. Text began typing itself as if remotely accessed. Ward stepped back. "Hale, someone's in the system." More text appeared. "You should not have opened this." Ward's pulse shot upward. "We need to unplug." The computer screen went black. Then a new message flashed. "The island stays open, no matter who has to die." Ward gasped. "Hale, the system is compromised. Someone's tracking us right now." Hale grabbed the drive and the phone. "We go." But as they turned, a brick crashed through the side window, landing at their feet. Attached to it was a note. Ward picked it up with trembling hands. The message read, "You have 24 hours to stop digging. Next time, we take someone you love." Ward's breath faltered. "They're escalating." Hale's mind raced. "Someone knows everywhere we go, everything we touch. We're being watched from inside the investigation." Ward swallowed. "A mole." Hale nodded slowly. "More than one." Ward sat down, overwhelmed. "Hale, what do we do?" He thought for a moment, then looked at the burner phone. Keller didn't just leave information. Hale said. He left a trail. And whoever's running this, whoever wants the island open, made one mistake. Ward looked up. "What mistake?" "They think fear will stop us." Ward steadied herself. "Will it?" Hale shook his head. "No, it's going to make us faster." Another crash sounded, even closer this time. Ward jumped. "What was that?" Hale moved toward the doorway, but stopped dead. The hallway outside was no longer empty. Spray painted on the wall, in dripping black letters, were 5 chilling words. "You were never safe here." Ward whispered. "Hale, someone was just in this building." Hale exhaled slowly, fear and fury mixing. "They're not trying to scare us anymore," he said. "They're marking us." Ward gripped the evidence bag tightly. "What now?" Hale looked at the flash drive, the phone, the envelope, and the graffiti. "Now," he said, voice dark and determined, "we find out who wants Rikers to stay open, even if it costs bodies." Ward nodded. Then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She showed Hale. It read, "If you want answers, come to the island." Both detectives froze. It was an invitation. Or a trap, and they both knew it. Hale whispered. Chapter 1 was a warning. Ward nodded. "So what's Chapter 2? Hale answered quietly. "The beginning of the war." The text message glowed on Ward's phone like an open threat. "If you want answers, come to the island." Rikers, the one place both of them swore they'd never step foot in again. The storm outside continued hammering the city, rain slashing against the streetlights, wind howling like something feral. Hale stood at the edge of the broken window, staring out at the drowned night, jaw set tight. Ward watched him quietly. "You knew this was coming." Hale didn't turn. Everyone who gets close to the truth ends up at Rikers, one way or another. Ward swallowed. Then let's go finish this. Hale finally looked at her. Ward, once we walk onto that island, there's no turning back. No backup. No command. No safety. Whatever's waiting for us, it wants us isolated. Ward clipped her badge onto her belt. Then let it try. They reached the bridge leading to Rikers just past 1 a.m. The storm made the East River look like a black pit boiling beneath them. Security at the gate was strangely minimal. 2 guards who barely glanced at their badges. Ward whispered as they passed through, "They're expecting us." Hale nodded once. Inside the perimeter, the facility was half alive, half abandoned. Some buildings lit, others dark, condemned, awaiting closure that never came. Lights flickered across the yard, like dying embers. Every step deeper into the complex smelled like rust, mold, sweat, and old fear. Ward shivered. I've seen prisons before. Hell, but this place is like the walls breathe. That's because they do, he muttered. They made their way through the administrative wing toward an old record office Keller once oversaw. Papers lay scattered. File cabinets stood open. Water dripped somewhere inside, echoing like a slow heartbeat. Ward checked her weapon. Where do we start? Hale pointed at the center desk. That's Keller's terminal. Ward booted it up. Shockingly, it still had power. A login screen appeared, then skipped automatically, as if someone had already bypassed the security. Ward stiffened. Someone accesses today. The desktop contained a single document. The first stone. Ward opened it. Inside was a list of internal transfer schedules, but not for inmates, for officers. Ward scanned. These aren't prisoner movements. These are smuggling routes. Hale finished. Officers moving contraband through channels disguised as inmate transfers. Ward kept reading. This one's dated the day Keller died. Hale leaned over her shoulder, then froze. Next to the transfer route was a signature. Captain J. Rollon. Ward frowned. Who is that? Hale closed his eyes. Joanna Rollon, former internal affairs supervisor for the island. She kept the officers clean. Or so we thought. Ward stood. She's involved? Hale didn't answer, but the silence said enough. Before they could read further, a door slammed behind them. Both detectives snapped around, weapons raised. A silhouette stood in the hallway. Tall, still, watching. Ward whispered, "Please don't be Kate again." The figure stepped forward into the light. Captain Rollon, gray hair tied back, stone-cold eyes, rain dripping off her coat. She looked like someone carved out of authority and secrecy. Ward lowered her weapon slightly. Captain Rollon? Rollon stepped further in, hands visible calm. "I heard you two were digging," she said. "I warned Keller to stay out of this." He didn't listen. Hale's voice hardened. "We're not leaving without answers." Rollon looked at the computer screen. "You shouldn't have opened that file." Ward stepped forward. "Why does your name appear on smuggling routes?" Rollon sighed, crestfallen, not angry, "Because I was trying to stop them. But the corruption spread faster than I could contain it. The island became a living thing, feeding on everyone who touched it." Hale studied her. "You're lying." Rollon's eyes snapped back to him. "You think I wanted this place to stay open? You think I wanted officers running side operations? No. But every time I push back, more powerful forces push harder." Ward pressed. "Who?" Rollon hesitated. "There's a council. Not official. Not documented. A group that profits from Rikers staying operational. They build entire pipelines into this place. Financial, political, criminal. The island closing threatens billions." "Names." Hale demanded. Rollon shook her head. "I don't have them. They made sure people like me never would." Ward scanned her expression. She wasn't lying. At least not entirely. Hale asked, "So why are you here?" Rollon looked at the flash drive in Hale's hand. "To take that from you." Ward squared her stance. "Not happening." Rollon's jaw tightened. "If you keep digging, they will kill you. They already sent one warning." Hale's eyes narrowed. You mean Cade? Roll-on froze. You saw him. We spoke to him, Ward said. Roll-on whispered. Then you're already dead. Before they could react, a loudspeaker crackled to life overhead. A distorted voice spilled through the island. Detectives Hale and Ward. We've been waiting for you. Ward spun around. Who the hell? The voice echoed again. Come to sell Block C alone. Hale exhaled. This is a trap. Ward nodded. But it's the only way we get answers. Roll-on took a step back. If you go in there, you'll never walk out. Hale turned to her. Then why don't you stop us? Roll-on looked away. Because I can't. No one can. The walk to cell Block C felt like traveling into a throat, dark, narrow, swallowing them deeper with each step. Lights flickered overhead. Wind whistled through broken vents. The block steel doors loomed at the end of the corridor, chained but slightly ajar. Ward whispered, They want us inside. Hale pulled the chain aside. The darkness swallowed them immediately. A single spotlight flickered on overhead, illuminating a lone figure sitting on a bench inside the block, hands bound, face bruised. Ward gasped. Oh my God, Hale, that's Cade. Cade lifted his head weakly. His lip was split, one eye swollen shut. He forced out a raspy laugh. Told you shouldn't come here. Hale rushed to him. Who did this? Cade coughed. Same people I warned you about. They run this island. Ward tried to untie his hands, but Cade whispered urgently. No, don't. They're listening. Hale froze. Where? Cade's eyes flicked to a corner camera they hadn't noticed. Half broken, lens cracked, but clearly active. Ward hissed. They're monitoring the block. Cade nodded faintly. They want to see what you'll do. Hale tightened his grip on Cade's shoulder. Who's in charge? Give us a name. Cade swallowed blood. Look up. Hale raised his eyes toward the second-floor walkway. A silhouette stood there. Not Roll-on. Not an inmate. Not someone they recognized. The man stepped forward into the light, wearing a suit too sharp for this place, shoes too clean, expression too calm. A visitor. A politician. A face Hale had seen on TV. Ward whispered, horrified. No, that's Deputy Mayor Richard Vance. The man smiled politely. Detectives. Hale's voice darkened. You're behind all this? Vance rested both hands on the railing. Behind? No, but I am involved. Ward's voice trembled. You threatened us. You broke into buildings. You sent messages. Vance chuckled softly. Please, I don't get my hands that dirty. I simply oversee the people who do. Hale stepped forward. Why? Why keep Rikers open? Vance's eyes glinted. Because shutting down Rikers threatens hundreds of deals, contracts, construction agreements, federal funding streams. This island is worth more open than closed. You think crime is the problem? No, crime is the revenue. Ward stared in disbelief. You're using suffering for profit. Vance smiled gently. Detective, suffering has always been profitable. Hale raised his weapon. You killed Keller. Vance shrugged. I approved the decision. He was going to expose us. And now, so will you. Cade wheezed out. Hale run. But the lights cut out. A metallic clang echoed as doors slammed shut around the block, sealing them inside. Heavy footsteps filled the darkness. Multiple footsteps. Ward whispered. We're not alone. Hale drew his gun, steadying his breath. Flashlights snapped on from above, bright, blinding cones aimed at them. Shadows shifted across the second-floor walkway. Figures moving, circling, watching. Vance's voice echoed down. Detectives, a final offer. Hale grit his teeth. We're not making deals. Oh, I think you will. Vance lifted a small remote. Because if you don't... He pressed a button. A spotlight snapped onto Cade. He dies... Ward screamed. And oh! Gunshots erupted from the dark. Hale tackled Ward behind a concrete pillar as Cade's body jerked violently under the hail of bullets. He collapsed to the floor in seconds, silent, still gone. Ward covered her mouth, shaking. They executed him. Hale pulled her back as footsteps thundered toward them. Ward whispered, voice breaking, "Hale, we're next." But Hale didn't retreat. His eyes burned, not with fear, with fury. Vance's voice echoed, "This ends tonight, detectives." Hale stood, slowly, stepping out from behind the pillar. Ward grabbed his arm. "Hale, what are you doing?" He didn't answer. He called out, "Vance, you're going to kill us? Do it yourself." The walkway above shifted. Vance leaned forward, amused. "You're brave. Or foolish." Hale lifted the flash drive high. "This is already copied," he lied. "Sent to multiple servers. Kill us, and everything becomes public." Vance's expression finally cracked. Ward caught on instantly. She shouted, "Every name, every transfer, every deal. By morning it all goes live." The footsteps paused. The flashlights wavered. Hale shouted, "You can't silence this anymore." Vance tightened his jaw. "You think I won't call your bluff?" Hale smirked. "Try me." A long silence followed. Then, "Stand down," Vance said sharply to the unseen men. The flashlights shut off. The footsteps retreated. Ward exhaled a trembling breath. "Did we just—" Vance spoke again. "Detectives will speak soon." Hale raised his gun. "We're not done." "No," Vance said, "but you're not dying tonight." Instead, the cell block doors clicked open behind them. "I'm giving you a head start." Ward whispered, "A head start for what?" Vance smiled down at them. "For the war you just declared." Hale and Ward bolted out of the block. Sprinting through dark hallways, sirens beginning to wail overhead. Guards moved in coordinated patterns around them, not attacking, but observing, watching, letting them run. Ward yelled over the sirens, "Hale, we're not escaping. They're guiding us." "I know." Hale called back. "They want us off the island alive, so we look like the aggressors when this gets out." They reached the yard. Lightning flashed across the sky. The exit gate stood wide open. Too easy. Ward stopped cold. "Hale, this is a setup." Hale nodded. "Everything is." They sprinted anyway. Once across the bridge, the island doors slammed shut behind them with a thunderous echo, like the final notes of a requiem. Ward collapsed against the railing, soaked, shaking. "Hale, what now?" Hale stared back at the shadowed silhouette of Rikers Island. "Now," he said, "we expose everything." Ward nodded. "Even if we become targets." "We already are." Thunder cracked overhead. Ward caught her breath. "Hale, what do we even call this?" Hale stared into the rain. "The moment the island fought back." "Fade out,"